Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Gayle, and today we're going to be working on a half moon flow. So half moon is a challenging pose for a lot of people. There's a lot of nuances to it that make it doable, and the way to get better at it is to practice. To have a lighthearted attitude, like if you fall, no big deal, you're already close to the ground. You're going to be able to catch yourself. I mean, unless you have some particular issues, balance issues, this might not be the class for you. But this class is going to be challenging. You're going to learn a lot. And if you don't already love half moon, hopefully by the end you will love half moon. So all you really need for props are 2 blocks or some books or something, you know, like 2 water bottles, something that you can add a little height for your half moon. If you like to have a blanket for your knees, you know, have a blanket, that's fine. But get whatever props you need and we'll get started. So we're going to start by centering ourselves. Just rest your hands on your thighs, close your eyes. Tune inward to your breath. Notice if there's any places in your body holding tension. Sometimes we hold tension between our eyes or in our neck or shoulders. And just let that tension slide away. You know, when we think of moonlight, we think of a soft light. Soft, cool light. So just let your body relax into that feeling of moonlight, that softness, but power. There's still a brightness to it. And the moon is like it's a reflection of the sun. So the moon is a reflection of our own innate goodness. It lights up the dark night sky. Open your eyes and let's start on our hands and knees. So come onto your hands and knees, spread your fingers, relax your thumbs. And we'll just begin to sway the hips from side to side, just to get some movement into the spine. Nice, easy movement. And come back to center and begin to cat-cow. So as you inhale, arc your heart forward. Press away from the floor, keep space between your shoulders, and as you exhale, round your spine, push into the floor, lift up through your middle back. And inhale, come forward again. You can think of externally rotating your shoulders here, try not to let things drop, or you can do a little flossing, but just know where your shoulders are in space in relationship to your ears. And go back and forth, letting your breath guide you. Any pose to, you know, half moon is a balancing pose, among other things, balancing and strength. And any pose that requires a lot of balance requires awareness. Awareness of the positioning of your shoulders in relationship to your hips, positioning of your feet, the position of your neck. So as you're doing cat-cow, don't let your mind wander, but instead stay focused on this moment and this movement and this arrangement of your vertebrae, either arched or rounded. And then come back to what I'm going to call a neutral spine. You've probably heard that term before. So it's not sagging and it's not rounded, but right in between, more or less. And stretch your left leg out. Lift your belly, reach your left leg up into resistance. So don't collapse here. Keep a lift. Keep your legs strong and float the right arm up. So it's important here to start really remembering to keep this back leg strong. So it's not just kind of hanging out there, but it's lifted and engaged. And find the balance. Find where you can soften. Soften your neck, soften your shoulders, soften your face. And lower your arm and leg down, and we'll do the same thing other side. Stretch the right leg out, keep the belly lifted. Reach your leg up into resistance. So I really can't go any higher unless I drop my hips. So I'm trying to keep my hips lifted. Find that balance point, keeping the back leg nice and strong. And lower your arm and leg down. So I like to do this little, it feels like a kind of a half moon practice on your hands and knees. So to do that, you can either tuck the toes of your right foot and keep your foot in line with your hips, which is a little more challenging than keeping your foot out to the side a little bit, which would be more like a kickstand. And the other way is to point your toes, keeping your foot in line with your heels. So I'll just start with the toes tucked, foot out to the side, and then stretch your left leg out. Try and stack your hips and stack your shoulders. And you can start with your hand on your hip and just lift your leg up. Really engage that leg and reach your arm up. So this is like the top half of half moon. And then you can lower your foot to the floor and reach your arm over your ear and go back and forth. So I'm not bringing my foot way behind. I'm trying to keep my foot in line with my hips. And lower down and lift up. And then we'll come back and try the same thing other side. So first time, we'll just start the easy way. Toes tucked out to the side. Stretch your right leg out, reach your right arm up. Lift your right leg up, and then lower your foot to the floor and lift. So you want to be engaging your core. You want to keep this back leg nice and strong. And lower, come back into your tabletop, and now either do the same thing or try and keep your back toes pointed, your heel in line with your knee. Stretch your left leg out and push this foot into the floor. Push your right foot into the floor. Reach your leg up, flex your foot, reach your arms up. Reach your arm up, not both. And lower your foot to the floor. And inhale, lift. Whoa. And exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. One more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Switch sides. So you can see that was a little wobbly in places. It's more challenging not to have your foot out to the side. But if this foot is really active, so my left foot is going to be really active, right leg stretched out. And where your hand is makes a difference. So bring your hand a little bit out to the side. And then keeping both legs strong, reach your right leg up and lower it down and lift up and lower, stretch. Inhale, lift up. And bring your hand down. Let's take a little break here. Tuck your toes, move your knees back a little bit, stretch your hips back, and lift up into downward facing dog. Take a moment here to engage your arms, soften your neck, bend your knees, maybe bend and straighten the legs a little bit. And your next inhale, reach your right leg up. And exhale, knee to chest, step your foot all the way forward. Now here's where it's nice to use a block. So you can start with the block on the highest height, and you want it outside of the outside edge of your foot and not too far forward. So maybe 6 to 8 inches, maybe like a hand's distance apart. And then you're going to step your weight into your right foot. Oh, you know what? Okay, so now from tabletop, we're going to work on firing up the glute muscles. So that's so important when you're in half moon to keep your knee in alignment, is the glutes have to be turned on. So just hover your left knee off the floor a little bit and then open your leg out to the side. Inhale, lower, exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Now you could do inhale, lift, exhale, lower. Either way, just move with your breath. And then from here, try not to shift your weight over to the side too much, but try and keep your weight centered. Try and keep your knee and your foot at the same height. Straighten your leg and little pulses up. You should really feel the glutes working here. And lower your knee down. And do the same thing other side. So I'm gonna have to move over a little bit here. So lift your right leg up and lower. So I'm trying not to do this. I'm trying to really engage the glutes, keeping the pelvis pretty still and feeling those glutes working. Turn those babies on. Next time when your leg is lifted, again, try not to shift your weight. See if you can straighten your leg out to the side and little pulses. And lower your leg down. And a couple, just kind of moving your spine around. And tuck your toes, stretch back into your down dog. Bending the knees, lengthening out through your spine. Inhale, reach the right leg up. Exhale, step it forward. Lower your left knee down. And we're gonna do some hip flexor stretching and hamstring stretching. So this is where it's really nice to have blocks. Think of engaging your glutes to pull your tailbone towards your heels and just little pulses, forward and back. And shift your right hip back, your hips back, and reach your chest forward over your leg. Keep a little soft bend in your knee. You should feel the hamstrings engaging and opening up. And you can go back and forth between those two actions. Keeping your abs engaged and at the same time having some relaxation sensation there. So finding that balance. When you're in your lunge, you could think of squeezing your heel towards your knee and your knee towards your heel. Relax the shoulders and then send your hips back. And just go back and forth. Next time you come forward, shift your weight forward into your front foot, lift up off the back foot and come into standing splits. Keep this leg really engaged. Lift up out of your hip. And look at your knee. Your knee and your second toe should be pointing in the same direction. So activate this right glute so that your knee doesn't twist over to the left. And lower your foot down. And step back, down dog. Inhale, reach the left leg up. Exhale, step it all the way forward. Lower your back knee to the floor. Use your blocks. Activate drawing your tailbone towards your heels so you feel the glutes engage. So even as you're reaching forward a little bit, you're still pressing back with the back leg. And then pull your hips back. Your toes can be pointed or lifted. It's nice to do both. Feel the difference. How the stretch when your toes are pointed, it's more on the top of the leg, and when they're flexed, it's more on the back of the leg. And then glide back and forth between those two places. Moving with grace and moving with ease. And bring your blocks forward. Shift your weight into your front foot. Lift off through your back leg, lifting your back leg up. Flex your foot. Push out through your big toe mound, out through your heel. Keep the belly nice and lifted. Make sure this glute is turned on, hugging in, so your knee is lined up right with your second toe. And notice how the weight is on this foot. You don't want it too far forward or too far back. And bend your knee, switch your right leg back, lower down. Place your hands and step back, downward facing dog. Lower your knees to the floor. Come down onto your forearms. And lower your hips down, coming into Sphinx pose. So elbows right underneath the shoulders, point your toes, draw your belly up, tailbone reaching towards your heels, chest forward. So trying to find length in the low back. From here, bend your left knee, reach back with your hand, and alternate between pulling your heel in towards your hip and stretching your leg back. And just go forward and back. Maybe pausing for a few breaths in one place or the other. And switch sides. Take time to feel what's going on in your body in this moment. If you roll more so that your hips are facing straight down instead of off to the side, it'll be a little bit of a deeper stretch. And release your foot. And press back, downward facing dog. Bend your knees, lower your knees to the floor. And come to a seated position. And we'll do a little bit of work on the shoulders. So inhale, reach your arms up. Bring the palms together and stretch over to the right. Inhale back to center. Switch your palms, stretch over to the left. Inhale back to center. Instead of the palms being together, bring the back of the hands together. Lift up nice and tall and stretch over to the right. Inhale up, stretch to the left. Inhale up, bring your arms into a cactus position. Pull the ribs back and stretch the elbows forward. And then reach up and back down. And inhale, reach up and back. And bring your elbows together, wrap your arms into eagle arms or back of the hands together. And release your hands, reach back, see if you can grab your shoulder blades. And release your hands, stretch over to the right. Inhale back to center, stretch over to the left. Inhale back to center, bring your hands behind your back. Push into your fingertips, lift up through your chest. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. And bring your elbows back up. So there's a tendency to, when we open up our chest and our shoulders, to pop the ribs forward. But to really open up, you want to keep the ribs moving back as much as you can as you lift up. And then wrap your elbows opposite elbow in front. And release the hands. Again, grab your shoulders. And just give yourself a little hug. And stretch your arms behind your back again. This time, interlace your fingers behind your back. Keep the ribs drawing in as you reach your arms out. Instead of dropping your chin, try and keep the head nice and lifted. And you could either stay here or you could bow over your legs and start to lift your arms up away from your back. And inhale back up again. Release your hands. Just kind of roll out the shoulders. And we'll make our way back into downward facing dog. So have your blocks handy. And step back into your down dog. Inhale, reach the right leg up, and exhale, step it forward. So we're going to start playing with our half moon. Where you place the block is really important, and especially if you're new to this, it's nice to start with a block on the highest height. It's a little less stable, so you could start it with it on the second height. But you want the block to the outside of your foot and maybe about spread hands distance forward. And start to push weight into this right foot. Try and keep your arch nice and lifted, and weight into your heel as well as the front of your foot. And start to lift your leg up, engage this back leg, and start to open up through the hip, just like we did when we were on the floor. Try not to lean too much into this block, but to keep weight back into your heel. And then open up through the hip and the shoulder. Try and keep this back leg at shoulder height and not behind you, but right in line with your hips. Foot nice and flexed. And then you could look toward the ground to start. Reach your top arm up. Trying to open up through the shoulder. And then if you're feeling pretty steady, see if you can barely have any weight on the block and maybe gaze toward the sky. And then to come down with control. And step back, down dog. And we'll prepare for the other side. So inhale, reach your left leg up. Exhale, step it all the way forward. Place your block so it's not too far forward, not right by your foot, and not in line with your foot, but a little bit out to the side. Notice where the weight is centered in your foot. Lift the back leg up, open up through the hips, really make this top leg strong. Make sure that you have weight in your heel and that you're not leaning into the block too much. Open up through your hip, and this is where the glutes really have to fire up so your knee doesn't turn inward. Open up through your top shoulder. Keep that back leg really strong, super strong, and reach your arm up, maybe gaze up. It's a lot harder to gaze up than to have your gaze down. Now lower your top hand down and step back, downward facing dog. Look toward your hands, bend your knees and hopper step forward. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, bow. Press into the earth. Inhale, rise all the way up. And exhale, hands to your heart. And inhale, reach up. Exhale, bow. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bow. Step back to your down dog. Inhale, forward to plank. And exhale, back, down dog. Inhale, reach the right leg up. Exhale, step it forward. Inhale, rise up. And exhale, hands down. Maybe take the block on the second height, and right away we're going to step up into half moon pose. So keep this right glute really turned down, some weight in your heel. Open up through the shoulders. Reach your top arm up. Back leg is really strong. And lower your top hand down. Step back, down dog. Inhale the left leg up. Exhale, step it forward. Place your block. And step right up into your half moon pose. Opening up the hip, engaging the glute, opening up the top shoulder, reaching the top arm up. Strong legs, open heart. And lower your top hand down, step back, downward facing dog. Take a little rest here. And inhale, reach the right leg up. Exhale, step it all the way forward. Place your hand on your block. Inhale up, half moon pose. Remember to keep weight in that heel. The tendency is to lean too far forward in your feet. And then see if you can just keep your half moon going and lower the block to the lowest height. Back leg stays strong. And this time we'll lower the top hand down and square the hips, coming into a standing split. And then we'll open up into half moon again. So working through the hips, pushing into your heel, lifting up nice and tall. And again, hand down, square the hips, and step it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, reach the left leg up. Exhale, step it all the way forward. Use your block. Inhale, open up, half moon pose. Take your time. Find your balance. And then lower the block. Lower your top hand down. Square your hips. And again, open up, half moon pose. Lower the top hand down, square the hips. Then step it back, downward facing dog. Look towards your hands, bend your knees, hop or step forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, bow. Press into the earth. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, sweep up toward the sky, toward the moon. Exhale, bow. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bow. Plant your hands, step back to plank. Bend your knees, down dog. Inhale, round forward. Exhale, back. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. Inhale the right leg up. Exhale, step it all the way forward to your hands. Inhale, rise up. Crescent lunge. So when we did half moon earlier, we were coming from the ground up. This time we're gonna go from standing down into half moon pose. So start to shift your weight forward into this right leg. Lift the back leg up. And then with control, lower your hand down to the block or the floor. Stack your hips. Keep the shoulders reaching apart from each other. Back leg really strong, weight in your heel. Open up, warrior two. Lower the top hand down. Square your hips, lift the belly. Bend your knee a little bit, and if you can, reach your arms back, coming into variation of warrior three. Slowly lower your back leg to the floor, back foot to the floor. Inhale up, and exhale, downward facing dog. Getting a little more challenging, so just play with it, be playful, be okay with falling. I've fallen so many times. I can't even count. Inhale, reach the left leg up. Exhale, knee to chest, step your foot all the way forward. Engage your glutes, so glutes squeeze in. Inhale, rise up. And exhale, start to shift your weight forward and slowly bring your hand down to a block or the floor. Keep the back leg lifting and strong. Open up through the shoulders, weight back into your heel. Spread the shoulders, maybe gaze up. And lower the top hand down, square your hips. Squeeze the glutes towards each other. A little soft bend in your knee. Slowly start to bring your hands back, coming into warrior three, variation of warrior three. And step back, crescent lunge. Exhale, hands down, and step back, downward facing dog. Look towards your hands, bend your knees, hop or step forward. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, bow. Press into the earth, inhale, rise all the way up. And exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bow. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bow, step back to plank, and back, downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg up, exhale, step it forward. Right away, half moon pose, open up. Keep the legs strong, and maybe if you feel ready and have the right attitude, maybe see if you can bring your hands together in prayer position. Good, lower both hands down. Step back, downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg up. Exhale, step it forward. Right away, half moon. You can always use a block. A lot of it is how you center your weight and knowing to turn those glutes on, keeping the back leg strong. And then maybe try a little balance without your hands. Good, lower both hands down and step it back. Downward facing dog. Bend your knees, rest in child's pose. Child pose should feel really good right about now. Tuck your toes, stretch back to your down dog, walk your feet forward, and make your way onto your backs. Hug your knees into your chest, gently rock your hips in circles. And hug your right knee in, stretch your left leg out. And switch sides. Hug both knees in. Lower your feet to the floor, hands by your sides. Inhale, lift your hips up. Or just a gentle bridge pose. And slowly lower your hips down. Hug your knees into your chest again. And stretch out for Savasana. Just let everything completely relax. Imagine that half moon up in the sky. Gentle soft light shining down, reflecting off your body. So that you feel one with a bigger energy. You feel grounded and yet connected to the sky, to the heavens. Stay here as long as you like. Please leave me some comments. Check the like button, subscribe to my channel, tell your friends. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.